How bad does it have to get until you make a move to heal from narcissistic abuse, or till you make a move to actually work on yourself? Maybe you've been at the place where you've been enduring the painful effects of narcissistic abuse, how it racks your body, your mind, your spirit, your relationships, your business, everything. But you might be unsure of, like, when do I actually start doing this? When do I actually start to make a move to work on me? Is it okay to make a move on me? Is it okay to start to heal and to grow and develop? Is this actually even possible? Maybe you're waiting for things to reach a certain breaking point before you commit. Maybe you're waiting till you see explicit proof before you realize that he's actually a cheater. Maybe you're waiting for specific proof to see, or another confirmation or another validation that this person's lying to you. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting and hoping that something will change, hoping that something will be different, and it doesn't change. One of the things we notice is people stay in relationships way longer than what they would just out the gate with someone that's toxic. Like, consider the person that you're with right now. You probably wouldn't stay with a person like that if you just ran into them on the street and they started treating you the same way you're getting treated now. But instead, right now, you've got all these different layers of love and connection and experience and things that you've been through together that make you tied to this person. And the question today is, how bad does it have to get before you choose to work on yourself and work on healing from narcissistic abuse? And sometimes it has to get really bad. Sometimes it has to get to a place of death. Sometimes it has to get to a place where you realize it is a life and death situation. One of the clients that I worked with for a while got to the place where, for her, it was destroying her body physically. Like, absolutely physically. Like, she had to go in and get different surgeries, do different things to be able to protect her. And going into one of the surgeries, she said, like, I don't even know the outcome of this. I don't even know if I come out of this. I don't even know what happens. And part of it had become such a huge part of her life because of all the stress that had been in her life because of the toxic narcissistic person. You might be struggling today with some of these aspects and not sure what to be able to do. We want to be able to talk through some of these things to help you just understand where you're at, help you understand this piece of it, and to have you make a choice to start working on your growth and your development. That's the only thing you have the power to control. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness about narcissistic abuse. I'm the founder of Raw Motivations, the creator of the NARC app, and your guide in the 45-day Clarity Challenge you can access at claritychallenge.net. I want to talk to you today about this aspect of choosing yourself. It's one of the things that's one of the hardest things for people to be able to choose when they're in a toxic relationship. Mainly because you don't get the opportunity to choose yourself. You don't get the opportunity to invest in yourself. You don't get the opportunity to even share things that you're thinking because you're with a toxic person that doesn't actually care about you and is not willing to let you speak because how that affects them or messes with them, or how that controls them, quote unquote, and all these different things that happen in the narcissist's life that they don't want to actually take care of. And they're not willing to actually take care of you. So you get to the place where you no longer invest in yourself. And then you get stuck in the aspect of the trauma bond, the fear, the obligation, the guilt, the intermittent reinforcement, the cognitive dissonance, the hope and the potential that this person is going to change. You get stuck in all this addictive cycle, and it doesn't make you actually make a move to choose you. You see, if we don't recognize these patterns, if we don't recognize the abuse that's happened, you'll stay stuck for a long period of time. There won't be this aspect of getting out. There won't be this aspect of getting freedom. There won't be this aspect of getting healthy because you don't even recognize it. Part of it is actually being able to look at the things that have been happening in your life and to recognize and talk about them as saying, hey, this is abuse. Some of you, you're not going to want to do that. You're going to be frustrated and thinking about that. You're going to want to walk away from that concept because thinking about this partner in your life actually abusing you feels really hard, feels really difficult. But it's important to understand you have to be able to recognize it first. Typically, that means we need to break through the trauma bond. We need to break through the cognitive dissonance to get you clear on the facts. What has actually been demonstrated? What has actually been shown? Because the longer you put up with it, the longer you see, oh, this is okay, the longer it doesn't seem to matter, the longer you just keep going through life pretending that it's working for you, but it's not, it's going to result in a lot of damage. Emotional, mental, psychological, physical damage, all different types of damage. And until you get to the place where the toll it is taken on your well-being is so great, it won't serve you for anything. But it has to move to a place where it's so great where it actually forces you to make a choice, forces you to make a decision for your own well-being. Think of how much it has hurt you in multiple different ways. Think of how the narcissistic abuse and the stress that it's caused has affected your body, how you show up physically, the hair loss, the autoimmune diseases, the things that have never been there before, that have never affected you before, that are now racking your body, that are completely different than what has ever been there before. Think of how that is sapping your energy, how it's sapping your time, how that is sapping like all how you show up. How you show up to your friends and families, how you interact to other people, how you interact with your kids, how you're able to show up as a mom, how you're able to actually invest in your kids when you're so tired from all the stress. How is it actually affecting your mental and your emotional state where it's beating you up to a place that you don't even know who you are? You don't even know what to do. How is it affecting you of keeping you distracted and keeping you unfocused in the fog when you're at work, when you're running your business? Like all of these things end up producing a giant effect, a giant thing that happens of this narcissistic abuse that happens in your life. The problem is the majority of people won't actually leave or start to work on their healing until it becomes so bad, until it becomes so painful, until it gets to the place that it's ready to break you on multiple levels, and then you decide to make a change. If you're at the place where you're with a narcissistic person now, you need to be able to understand you need to make a change now to grow yourself and to break free. To break free from the cycle of abuse that's happening on a consistent basis. Because it follows a cycle. It follows a back and forth. It follows the in and out. It follows the idealization, the devaluation, the discard. And this repetitive pattern perpetuates the feelings of worthlessness. It raises up your anxiety. It puts you in a state of confusion. We often call it the fog, the fear, the obligation, the guilt that leaves you trapped in the mindset that this is the reality you need to stay in, that this is the relationship that you need to stay in, that it's what you're supposed to do. And we need to bring you to the place of awareness of recognizing this cycle, of seeing the ins and outs, of being able to admit, hey, we've broken up 30 times in the past 2 years. Something is not right. And being able to have you understand the picture of what's happening with narcissistic abuse and how it's destroying you in so many different ways. But you have to be able to recognize it, that this cycle will continue over and over and over again. He's not going to change for you. If he hasn't changed for himself, it's not going to happen. And you have to make a move. You have to make a decision. You have to make a choice to actually grow and develop you. That's it. That's the only thing you have. That's the only thing that you can do. You can't manipulate, you can't force change on another person, but you can grow yourself. But that choice has to come from you. It has to be something you're willing to do, to choose you over what's happening. This piece of choosing you is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Because you've been conditioned not to. You've been conditioned to choose someone else. You've been conditioned to put your needs down, to have the needs of someone else be elevated so that you don't get in trouble, so you don't get the silent treatment, so you don't get yelled at. But now it's time to actually choose you and your healing and your development, to break free of the trauma bond and to move forward. And you have to be able to do that by practicing self-care, by working on your growth. Like, you working on your growth is an act of self-love and empowerment. It involves embracing self-care practices, seeking support, and getting involved in things that are going to help you understand what you're going through and the tools to break free. And when you engage in that, those personal growth activities, developing yourself, by investing in your healing, you start to take back control of your life, and you lay the foundation for a healthier future for you, for your generations behind you. But it has to come down to the place where you make a choice saying, hey, no more. No more of this. I'm going to continue to work and develop myself. I'm going to become the person that I'm called to be, but it's going to make a move. It's going to make a change. You're going to have to make a decision to invest in yourself. Because the healing from narcissistic abuse will not come from no contact, will not come from distance and time, will not come just because you know everything you know about narcissistic abuse. It comes from the daily choice of investing in yourself and having a systematic process to break free from the toxicity, to rewire your mindset from the trauma bond, and live in a place of power and certainty of who you're actually called to be. If you're ready to take that choice, I want to invite you to go to claritychallenge.net. The 45-day challenge that actually helps you get free mentally and emotionally from toxic relationships. That helps you break the trauma bond, get rid of the rumination. Whether you're in the relationship or whether you're out of the relationship, this course helps you understand how to be free and how to rewire your mindset so you can get to the place that you can live in power and confidence of who you actually are. Go to claritychallenge.net to sign up today.